I'm already trying to figure out how I'm going to defend this. And I don't think I'm going to win. Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I have a ridiculous book haul today. I went into September gung-ho about I'm not going to buy all the books this time, and it's going to be a slow month, and I'm going to just whatever, and I'm not going to buy a ton of books. And I bought a ton of books. I just did. So there's that. I got a few sent to me, but a lot of them I bought. That's the majority. Everything's fine. We'll get through this together. All right, I'm going to show you what was sent to me first. This first one is a book that I want to read, and I actually even checked it out from the library recently, and I didn't have enough time to get to it before I had to take it back. And I got this in the mail from one of my subscribers, and she didn't put her name on it, so I didn't know who it was from. The address looked vaguely familiar, so I had a feeling it was like someone we had done an exchange or something. And then I finally got a hold of her and figured out who it was, and I was like, thank you so much. She sent me The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I really want to read this. This is a very popular contemporary that has come out recently, and it follows two people who live in the same flat in London, but they're not there at the same time. So they're basically using the same space to live. I think she lives there at night and he lives there during the day because their schedules are opposite, and they start corresponding through, you know, like leaving notes to each other and stuff, and hey, there's this in the fridge if you want it, and blah blah blah. And I believe a correspondence happens from there, and feelings start happening even though they've never met, but they're sharing the same space. It sounds really cute. I'm dying to read it. So thank you so much. I was hoping to get through it in Contemporary-thon, but I didn't have time. So, but it will be read very soon. I'm so excited. Another one that was sent my way from one of my subscribers, and I about died because I was not expecting this at all. And it just showed up, and yeah, Serpent and Dove. This is written by Shelby Mahurin, and this has been getting a lot of buzz, and then it showed up on my doorstep, and this was sent to me from Jackie over at Evil Queen Books. She has a channel, so I will leave her link down below, and she just sent me the sweetest note, and I was like, Jackie, thank you. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this, and she really wants to know my thoughts on it. So I actually do plan to read this very soon, but this is a fantasy book that involves witches and witch hunters, and I believe a witch and a witch hunter are forced to marry each other for some reason. And so, yeah, issues. Yep. But I've heard very good things about it. A lot of people have been reading it recently. It just came out, and it's getting a lot of good buzz. So I'm definitely excited to check this one out. But Jackie, seriously, thank you. This next one was sent to me from the publisher, from Amazon Publishing, actually. And it's one that I got an ARC of as well, but then they sent me a finished copy. So that was really awesome. And this is Disaster's Children by Emma Slowly. This comes out November 5th. This is a post-apocalyptic book that follows a girl who is living in this very wealthy neighborhood, and basically the world around them are crumbling, but they have resources and they have all this money and they're living very comfortably, but she's realizing that maybe it's not the safest place for her to be, and she's trying to decide if she's going to risk the outside world versus the world that she's living in, you know, this place that she's living in that seems to have it all, but maybe it doesn't. And at first when I got it, I was like, oh, that's awesome, but I have an ARC, so, you know, maybe I'll donate this one. But you guys, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, no, maybe I'm going to keep this one because that is beautiful. I absolutely love the hardcover of this. So yeah, but thank you to Amazon Publishing for sending me a finished copy. This next one was sent to me by William Morrow, and it's a finished copy of a book that comes out on October 8th, and that is A Bitter Feast. This is by Deborah Crombie, and this is actually book number 18 in a series that she has written, and it is the Duncan Kincaid, Gemma James series, and it is two Scotland Yard detectives from what I'm understanding. It's not a series I've read before or even heard of, but if you guys are fans of this series and you want to continue in it, number 18 is coming out right now. And this next one is an ARC that I got, and it actually comes out in February. It comes out February 11th, and that is The Only Child by Maye Xiao. I hope I didn't butcher that. But this is actually a psychological thriller that is written from a Korean author, and it's being translated into English. And this one follows a woman who is a reporter, and she is granted an interview with a very infamous serial killer in Korea. And so she's the one he has requested for her to interview him and, kind of tell his side of the story. And so she is in the process of doing that. At the same time, her husband's 11-year-old daughter that he has with a previous woman shows up at their house because she was living with her grandparents, and her grandparents have passed away. So she shows up at their house and she needs to live with them because she's only 11. She can't live on her own, obviously. So she's dealing with that as well, having, this child in her house. And some creepy things start happening when the child moves in, and there's a little bit too much similarities happening between what she's dealing with at work and what she's dealing with at home. And so she's not quite sure what's going to be happening here or what's going on. So I'm really excited to read this. It is pretty short, actually, for a psychological thriller. So I think it's going to be jam-packed with some things, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be all about. And this one was sent my way from Echo, which is an imprint of HarperCollins. All right, that's what was sent my way. Now everything else I bought. Okay. Everything's fine. Okay, let's talk about Free Little Libraries, because I did go and drop off some books at a Free Little Library, and I saw 2 that were sitting in there, and so I grabbed them because I dropped 4 off. And the first one is Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a nonfiction book, I believe, about Jacqueline's experiences growing up, and it's written in verse. It is a middle grade. I'll probably pick this up for middle grade March next year, but it's one that I've heard very, very, very good things about. It's award winning, as you can tell. There's 3 different awards on here, and it's just one I haven't read, but I would really like to. I also grabbed another book that I had gotten at the library when I lived in New Mexico, and I wasn't able to read it before I had to take it back, but it's one that I've heard really great things about, and it's a nonfiction, and that is Hillbilly Elegy. And this is from J.D. Vance, and it's a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. And I've heard really, really good things about this book. Lindsay really liked it as well, so it's one that I've always had on my radar to read at some point. I just wasn't able to read it from the library when I had it, but the Free Little Library had it, so I went ahead and grabbed it. All right, so all the rest of them I paid for. Okay, number 1, Books A Million. This is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. This is a young adult fantasy book that has been on my radar for a while. I've heard really, really good things about it. The second one is out already as well, and I believe number 3 is coming out soon. And I've just heard really good things about it. I'm not 100% sure what it's about, but number 1, this cover kills me. It is so pretty, and I'm interested to see what all the fuss is, but I found it on the bargain table for $3.97, so I grabbed it. Also at Books A Million, I went ahead and grabbed a book that I have been wanting for a while, and I went ahead and grabbed it to read for my class this semester, and that is Autobiography. This is by Christina Lauren, and for my class, we are supposed to read an LGBTQIA+ book, and I figured this would be a great one because I want to read all of Christina Lauren's books, and this does feature an LGBTQIA+ character, and it's focused around that whole story. So I went ahead and grabbed it because I knew I was going to buy it because it's Christina Lauren and I want all of their books on my shelves. So good excuse just to buy it. Elastic Book Fair. They had Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer on there, which is book number 2 in the Renegades series. I read Renegades recently, really, really loved it, and I knew I wanted to continue in the series. I wasn't sure if I was going to buy them or not. They're pretty chunky books, but I saw it at the Scholastic Book Fair at my daughter's school when I was volunteering there, and it was only $10. So I grabbed it, help her school out, everything's fine. But I definitely want to read this one, and then Supernova, which is the 3rd book, is coming out later this year too. So yeah, I grabbed it. Amazon. Okay, I have 5 things from Amazon. 2 of them are pre-orders. The other 3 I just bought. So this one I actually bought for my class, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird, the graphic novel. So To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorite books of all time, written by Harper Lee, and they made a graphic novel version of it, which is by Fred Fordham. So he adapted and illustrated this book. And it's one that I went ahead and got because it's one that I can use for my young adult reading class, because I do need to read a graphic novel, a nonfiction, a fiction. So I thought I would read this one and see how it would translate into graphic novel form for young adults, but that's what some of the artwork looks like. And I'm really excited to see how this translates. I'm not big on graphic novels. I don't really read them that much. I've read a couple here and there, but it's not something that has ever really interested me as far as a medium to read from. But if you're going to do one of my favorite books of all time, I'm more likely to pick it up. So I went ahead and bought it. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a hardback. It is just stunning. So I do not mind having this on my shelves, and I'm definitely going to be reading it for my reading project this year. The next one I grabbed is a book that is called Unsaid, and this is by Neil Abrams. And okay, this one, I'm not even 100% sure what this is about, but this was a cover buy. Look at this cover. Look at that sweet, precious baby on that cover. I can't even take it. I want him so bad. I don't even know who he is or what he's doing. But this one is definitely written by, I believe he's a veterinarian, or he works with animals somehow, but the main character in here is a veterinarian, and so it has to do with a lot of animals and things like that, and I believe there's some sort of connection with a chimpanzee from what I'm understanding. So it's interesting that there's a dog on the cover. I'm not quite sure where he's going to play, but I'm such a sucker for dogs on the cover, and this showed up on super sale. It was like $4 on Amazon, so I went ahead and grabbed it because it was super cheap. It was on my wish list anyway, and yeah. But seriously, that face, look at it. This next one is a book that is actually from an independent publisher, and it is written by somebody who is in a book group that I am in on Facebook, and she mentioned that she had written a book and had a link and everything, and so I checked it out, and it sounded actually pretty interesting, and this cover is gorgeous. So I went ahead and picked up the paperback copy of it. This is Unspoken by Celia McMahon. And this is a young adult fantasy, and it follows a girl who is a princess, and she is really discovering some things about her kingdom and discovering some things that are maybe a little bit corrupt, and she has to figure out why and what's happening. It has some wolves that are involved as well, and just a lot of magic and things like that. So I didn't look like super close into the synopsis, obviously, you can tell. But yeah, it sounded interesting, and this cover, like I love the cover, and the inside is actually really pretty too. It has that castle in all of the some of the beginning parts here, as you can see. So that's in there quite a bit. So yeah, it's a beautiful book though. Like, and the cover's like real velvety and everything. So I did not mind picking this one up. And these last two here that are from Amazon are both pre-orders. That I pre-ordered a few months ago. First one is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. I have read a book by her last year, and I absolutely loved it, and it was a surprise that I really loved that book. So when I heard she had this one coming out, I pre-ordered it because I just have a feeling she's going to be an author that I'm really going to enjoy. And I have heard really great things about this from people who are getting it in a book box. I don't know which one. I want to say maybe it's Owl Crate that has this book this month because there's an exclusive cover. It's white instead of black. But I've heard really good things about it so far from some people who have been reading it. So I'm definitely excited to read this. And this is a very creepy book that follows a girl and her family who are grave diggers, and they live on the, like, almost on the border of where the Fae live, and so things kind of start happening. And I believe it has to do with zombies as well. So I'm definitely interested, and like this would be just the perfect like Halloween spooky book to read. So I'm excited. And another pre-order that came in is Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. Have I read God's Grave? Ask me that. No, I haven't. Have I reread Nevernight like I want to? Nope. But I do have all three now. All three are on my shelves, just waiting for me to devour them and to have a big love-hate relationship with Jay Kristoff, because that seems to be what's going to happen. And I'm totally here for it. But I do have Dark Dawn. I'm probably going to have to wait till after my young adult class is done just to kind of really have the time to devour and appreciate this series. But it's here. This is the end. It's complete. And am I ready? I don't know. Okay, next, Book Outlet. All right. Yeah, I put in a Book Outlet order. It's been a while since I've ordered from them, but I got some books that were going to be, or that are going to be gifts for other people. So I'm not going to show you those, but I will show you what I threw in my cart, because whenever I make a book outlet order, I always go through my wish list and I look and see, number one, how much is in stock. If it starts to get down to like less than 10 books in stock, usually I'll try to pick those up because they're getting low. Don't know if they're going to be restocked or not. You never know what's going to happen. And I don't pay attention too much to the prices because the prices don't seem to change very much on Book Outlet unless they're having like a big sale or something, which they weren't at the time. So I just looked to see, some of these were getting low in their stock. So I wanted to go ahead and grab them while they were still there. So that's why I got these, but I did end up getting 5 for myself. The first one is An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. I've heard really, really good things about this book, and this is one of my favorite covers. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I've heard this is incredibly brutal, and it deals with some trials, and yes, please. This next one is huge. I was not expecting this. But I got a bind up of Flowers in the Attic and Petals on the Wind by V.C. Andrews. Now, Flowers in the Attic is on the Great American Reads list, so that's why this was on my wish list, because it's, something I want to read at some point, and I have heard very good things about it. I've never read anything by V.C. Andrews before. It is huge because it's a 2-in-1, so it's 2 books in one. But I went ahead and grabbed it. It was really cheap, and again, like getting low on stock, so I went ahead and grabbed it while it was there. The next one I grabbed, I think, might have been the only one in stock when I picked it up. I don't know if they've restocked it yet or not, but that is Blood Red Road. This is by Mora. Cannot say that name. Mora Young. Yeah. I can't say that name. All right. This is the Dustlands book 1, and I saw this on Books and Lala's channel, and she read it. I'm pretty positive she read it for her closet unhaul, and she surprisingly gave it 5 stars. She was not expecting that. She was thinking, it'd be like a 3-star maybe. It could be entertaining. And then she gave it 5 stars, and she was shocked herself. So I had it on my wish list because of that. And then I finally went ahead and grabbed it because it was there. Not quite sure what it's about, but we'll see. Another one that I picked up, and I was so excited that I found this on Book Outlet because it's a series that I want to read. I've heard very, very, very good things about it. It's been recommended to me quite a bit actually recently. And so when I saw it was on there, I was like, yes. And this is one of those books where I'm mostly seeing the mass market paperbacks for them. And I don't like mass market paperbacks. So when I found the hardcover on Book Outlet, I jumped. And that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book in the Ancestor trilogy. So this consists of Red Sister, Gray Sister, and Holy Sister. And I believe Holy Sister just came out within the past few months. And so it's a completed trilogy now, but I have the first one in hardcover. I was so excited. I'm going to be keeping my eye out for the second and third as well. But I have heard amazing things about this trilogy in particular and about Mark Lawrence, and I've actually been wanting to read something by him. Just haven't had anything, but now I do. And the last one from Book Outlet is a Karen Slaughter book, and I picked up The Kept Woman. Now, this is book number, I want to say 8 in the Will Trent series. Is it 8? Yes, book number 8. I just double checked. And I am trying to collect all of these. Here's why. I am planning to read both the Grant County series and the Will Trent series in the order that you're supposed to go, because book number 10 in the Will Trent series has already been announced. It's coming out August of 2020. It has a title. I'm so excited. And I would love to get to a point where I am ready to read that when it comes out next August. That requires me to read both series, but I'm doing it. I'm starting it this month. I'm so excited. And I went ahead and grabbed this one because I do have book number 9, The Last Widow, which is her most recent release, in hardcover. So I figured, even if I start here and have hardcovers from now on, that's totally fine. And the rest can be paperbacks. I'm not too worried about that. This is a series, though, that it's hard to find matching books. So I'm not going to stress out too much about it. But this was on Book Outlet. Again, it was low in numbers, so I went ahead and grabbed it while I could. But I'm excited about it. All right, so speaking of Karen Slaughter and all of that, because I am going to be binge reading that series, I went ahead and grabbed 3 books in the Grant County series. Now, I still have one that's on the way. It hasn't made it here quite yet. I had to get it on eBay. But I did go ahead and get Faithless, Indelible, and Skin Privilege, which is also called something else in the US. Beyond Reach, I think, is what it's called in the US, but on the UK covers, which is what these are, it's called Skin Privilege, but it's the same book. So I got these, and then I am waiting for book number 3, which is called A Faint Cold Fear, I believe. It just hasn't made it my way yet, but I got these so I can start my binge read of them. I am super excited about it. And I just, I started collecting the UK covers because they're all going to match. I actually really like the covers of them. I think they're pretty cool and creepy and like, so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to collect these same type of covers in the Will Trent up to book number 8. And then go hardcover from there. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do that or not. It's looking like I might go that way. Unless you guys have seen any really cool cover of the Will Trent ones, but the earlier ones I do not like at all. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so I am getting ready to binge read this. Super excited. Just waiting on the second one to come my way. I believe, no, third one. There's 6. I have the first 2. So number 3 is on its way at some point, and then I have 4, 5, 6 here. Okay, now library sale. I went to my library sale recently, and I did pick up 4 books for myself. And yeah, so the first one is 100 Summers. This is by Beatrice Williams, and she is an author that I have not read from yet, but I really want to. And I think I have a couple of her other books. I just haven't read anything yet. But I've heard she's really good at historical fiction, and she's pretty popular and prolific. So I figured I would give her a shot. This one has a beautiful cover. And yeah, I'm interested to try it. All right, this one, I went ahead and got it because it was only $1. But I don't know. I don't know quite what I was thinking. So I got Orcs. This is by Stan Nichols. I recognized this type of cover because I believe that Holly from Holly Hearts Books has a new orc book like this, and the cover looks very similar, and I believe it's from the same author. I'm pretty positive. And so that immediately, when I saw the spine sitting there, I was like, ooh, is that the one Holly had talked about? But I think the one Holly talked about, she has an arc, so it's not come out yet. But this is an older one. And this is actually a bind up of 3 novels in one, and it's got some sprayed edges, which is kind of cool. It doesn't have the best Goodreads reviews, so that makes me a little bit nervous, but it's definitely, obviously fantasy, and it's from a different perspective. So I don't know. If you guys have read this, let me know what you think. If you have read it, I don't expect a lot of you have, but it was $1. I was like, it's different. Another one that I grabbed is The Wanderers, and this is by Meg Howry. And I remember seeing Books and Lala read this book, and she really liked it, and she really raved about it. This was a couple years ago, so it wasn't recent, but it's a science fiction, and she really, really, really liked it. So I had it on my wish list for a while because of that, because it sounded interesting when she had talked about it so long ago. But yeah, so I went ahead and grabbed it for $1. Why not? And the last one that I grabbed is actually a Book of the Month edition, and that is Swimming Lessons, and this is by Claire Fuller. And I remember a lot of people talking about this when it came out. It's been quite a while, though. This was December of 2016 was the pick for this one. But yeah, this cover, though, hello, that is absolutely beautiful. I love the cover so much. And I do remember enough people talking about it and enjoying it that I went ahead and grabbed it for cheap. Okay, that's it. Ooh, okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. I did do my read 10 before I could buy any, but I bought a lot. But I did have 10 read before I bought any of these. So I'm just going to say that. And yeah, it's a lot. Okay, guys, let me know down below if you've read any of these. What should I pick up sooner rather than later? Give me your opinions. I want to know all the things. And I will see you guys again soon. Have a great day. Bye.